Hello, folks. I am Alan for today's news. I will be reading and speaking about world news, interesting news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. What you got for you first here is from the Associated Press. U.S. launches airstrikes in Syria after drone kills U.S. worker. Let's see what it says here.
Beirut, AP. A strike Thursday by a suspected Iranian-made drone killed a U.S. contractor and wounded 5 American troops and another contractor in northeast Syria, the Pentagon said. American forces said they retaliated soon after with precision airstrikes in Syria targeting facilities used by groups affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard, with activist groups saying the U.S. bombing killed at least 4 people. The attack and the U.S. response threatened to upend recent efforts to de-escalate tensions across the wider Middle East, whose rival powers have made steps toward détente in recent days after years of turmoil. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said in a statement that the American intelligence community had determined the drone was of Iranian origin, but offered no other immediate evidence to support the claim. The airstrikes were conducted in response to today's attack as well as a series of recent attacks against coalition forces in Syria by groups affiliated with the Revolutionary Guard, Austin said. Iran relies on a network of proxy forces through the Mideast to counter the U.S. and Israel, its arch-regional enemy. The Pentagon said 2 of the wounded service members were treated on-site, while 3 others and the injured contractor were transported to medical facilities in Iraq. Overnight, videos on social media purported to show explosions in Syria's Deir el-Zor, a strategic province that borders Iraq and contains oil fields. Iran-backed militia groups and Syrian forces control the area, which also has seen suspected airstrikes by Israel in recent months allegedly targeting Iranian supply routes.
The rest of this in my description box if you like. What I got for you next after this is from the Business Insider. North Korea claims it can unleash a super-scale radioactive tsunami with an underwater drone that detonates near ships or ports. See what it says here.
Sponsored content. More from Business Insider. Read the memo. Amazon's HR chief said rejecting employees' petition against the new return-to-office policy. Sam Altman responded. Bay, on Thursday. Tianal ports of the enemy. North Korea claimed on Friday that it tested an underwater nuclear drone that can trigger a superscale radioactive tsunami by exploding in the ocean. The drone is named the Hail, which translates to tsunami or tidal wave. It was designed to strike both naval assets and coastal targets, North Korean state media outlet KCNA reported. The mission of the underwater nuclear strategic weapon is to stealthily infiltrate into operational waters and make a superscale radioactive tsunami through underwater explosion to destroy naval striker groups and major operational ports of the enemy, KCNA wrote.
When Trump was running, we wasn't worried about all this nuclear war and stuff. Now we are, since Biden's running. Think about it. Let me know what you think. And everything will be in my description box. Let's go on to the next one. This is from the Business site. Our top U.S. general says Iran could produce a nuke within several months.
General Mark Milley told lawmakers it would take Iran several months to produce a nuke. The top U.S. general said that the U.S. military has developed multiple options for a potential response. Iran's nuclear program has rapidly advanced since Trump withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal. Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley on Thursday told congressional lawmakers that Iran could produce enough fissile material for a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks, and it would then only take several more months for Tehran to produce an actual nuclear weapon. But the United States remains committed, as a matter of policy, that Iran will not have a fielded nuclear weapon, Milley said during a House Appropriations Committee hearing, underscoring that the U.S. military has developed multiple options for our national leadership to consider if or when Iran ever decides to develop an actual nuclear weapon.
And the next one I got here from Business Insider. NATO ally Hungary throws Putin lifeline. No, Putin a lifeline, saying it won't arrest him despite ICC warrant tied to Ukraine war. So there's somebody siding up with Putin.
Sponsored content. More from Business Insider. Read the memo Amazon's HR chief said rejecting Hungary signaled it would not arrest Putin if he visited, even though the ICC issued an arrest warrant. Hungary is an ICC member, but said that under Hungarian law it can't arrest Putin. Hungary's leader, Viktor Orbán, is an authoritarian with close ties to Putin. Hungary signaled it would not try to arrest Russian President Vladimir Putin if he visited the country, even though the International Criminal Court recently issued an arrest warrant for the Russian leader over allegations of involvement in the illegal deportation of Ukrainian children. We can refer to the Hungarian law, and based on that we cannot arrest the Russian president, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán's chief of staff, György Gulyás, said on Thursday, per Reuters. The ICC's statute has not been promulgated in Hungary, Gulyás said, adding that his government hasn't yet formed a stance on the arrest warrant for Putin.
And you can read the rest of that in my description box. Make a comment if you like about it. Here's one from Business Insider. The FTC wants to help you cancel that membership or subscription once and for all, aiming to reduce ways companies force you to struggle. Let's see what this says here.
The federal government has taken notice of difficult-to-cancel subscriptions. The FTC wants to outlaw companies that require extra steps to cancel services. Insider previously documented how the rise in subscriptions has led to this gigantic headache. The federal government has taken notice of the difficulty to cancel subscriptions and wants to end the deceptive practices companies use to keep consumers on the hook. The Federal Trade Commission announced a proposed rule on Thursday that would require companies to make it as easy for consumers to cancel subscriptions and memberships as it was to sign up. Gyms are among the worst offenders in this category, with some even requiring letters to headquarters to end memberships. Insider previously investigated how companies like Planet Fitness, Adobe, and Vonage have angered consumers by making it easy to sign up for their services but hard to cancel them. News organizations are also notorious offenders when it comes to onerous cancellation procedures. In the past, the FTC has fined companies that commit egregious offenses.
Like that. Anyway, around St. Louis, they got these car washes, like one called Zip, and people been they've been on the news. People said that they just sign up for one car wash, and before they know it, they're paying monthly. This one guy said he thought he said it was confusing, when you do your car wash, and he said before you know it, you look at the bank statement 6 months later, and he's get all these charges out of his banks. But anyway, FTC is going to put a stop to that. Let's see what else. This is something too I thought was interesting. Why execution by firing squad may be coming back in the U.S.
Why executions by firing squad may be coming back in the U.S. File: a chair sits in the execution chamber at the Utah State Prison on June 18, 2010, after Ronnie Lee Gardner was executed by firing squad in Draper, Utah. Idaho lawmakers passed a bill on March 20, 2023, that would authorize the use of firing squads if the state is unable to obtain drugs required for its lethal injection program. The bill will head to the desk of Idaho Governor Brad Little next. Trent Nelson / the Salt Lake Tribune via AP, Pool, File, AP. By the Associated Press and Michael Tarm. Published, March 24, 2023 at 7:47 a.m. PDT, updated, 12 minutes ago. Chicago, AP. The image of gunmen in a row firing in unison at a condemned prisoner may conjure up a bygone, less enlightened era. But the idea of using firing squads is making a comeback. Idaho lawmakers passed a bill this week seeking to add the state to the list of those authorizing firing squads, which currently includes Mississippi, Utah, Oklahoma, and South Carolina. Fresh interest comes as states scramble for alternatives to lethal injections after pharmaceutical companies barred the use of their drugs. Some, including a few Supreme Court justices, view firing squads as less cruel than lethal injections, despite the violence involved in riddling bodies with bullets. Others say it's not so cut and dry, or that there are other factors to consider. A look at the status of firing squads in the United States. When was the last execution by firing squad? Ronnie Lee Gardner was executed at Utah State Prison on June 18, 2010, for killing an attorney during a courthouse escape attempt. Gardner sat in a chair, sandbags around him and a target pinned over his heart. 5 prison staffers drawn from a pool of volunteers fired from 25 feet, about 8 meters, away with .30 caliber rifles. Gardner was pronounced dead 2 minutes later. A blank cartridge was loaded into one rifle without anyone knowing which. That's partly done to enable those bothered later by their participation to believe they may not have fired a fatal bullet. Utah is the only state to have used firing squads in the past 50 years, according to the Washington, D.C.-based Death Penalty Information Center.
So it's not like you see it on the movies, they line them up against the wall and shoot them. They actually put them in a chair here with sandbags around it. I guess the sandbag is in case the guys miss. A lot of guys can't shoot anyway. All right, let's go on to the next one here. Let me know what you think about it. This from Business Insider. I thought this was interesting. Does bottled water go bad? I know I've seen bottled water with expiration dates on them before. When it's safe to drink expired water and what to do with a contaminated bottle. Throw in the recycle. That's what I say. Let's see what this says here.
Sponsored content. More from Business Insider. Bottled water can have an expiration date, though it's legal in the U.S. to sell expired water. Bottled water's expiration date warns when leached chemicals will begin to affect the water's taste. Drinking expired water probably won't harm you, especially if the water was stored properly. Full screen. 1 of 7 photos in gallery, copyright courtesy of Stanley. The Stanley tumbler is the latest trendy water bottle taking over TikTok. Here are the 6 brands it's beating out, from Hydro Flask to Camelback. During a road trip, you take a big swig of a water bottle you bought at the last gas station. Despite the label's promise of a natural taste, a chemical flavor bathes your tongue. You examine the bottle and learn its sell-by date was a month ago. You read that right, bottled water can have an expiration date. This date warns you when leached chemicals will begin to affect the water's taste. It doesn't tell you anything about the level of toxic microplastics in your drink. The exact shelf life depends on the brand. A Fiji bottle can last 2 years, while those bulk packages of Nestle Pure Life bottles have a shelf life of only 3 months. Before you turn the car around and confront the gas station clerk, you should know it's perfectly legal in America to sell water bottles past their best-by date. For the last 21 years, the FDA stance has been that bottled water can last indefinitely if you store it properly. However, improperly stored water can not only taste funky, but can also grow toxic or contaminated over time. It's important to know the difference between water that tastes off and water that could potentially make you sick.
My girlfriend didn't know there was an expiration date on sodas until we got together. Because I live by expiration date. If it's old, I throw it away. I don't care. And so when you buy water, check the dates on them. And you can read the rest of this in my description box if you like. Go on to the next one. This is from Business Insider. About 250 Boeing employees were working on Air Force One planes with expired security clearance, report says.
Boeing mistakenly allowed workers without the proper security clearance to fly on Air Force One. The company said it alerted the Air Force immediately about the issue and is working to fix it. The Wall Street Journal reported the Pentagon is scrutinizing the issue to see how long it has been ongoing. Full screen. Boeing accidentally allowed employees without the proper security clearance to work on presidential planes like President Biden's Air Force One. Roughly 250 workers were reportedly allowed to work on presidential jets, as well as future versions of Air Force One, even after their top security clearances had expired for months, or sometimes even years. The error was first reported by the Wall Street Journal but confirmed to Insider. A Boeing spokesperson said the company caught its mistake earlier this month and quickly reported it to the Air Force.
So, let's go to the next one. This is from Business Insider. The TikTok CEO day in Congress was a disaster. That means the app will still likely get banned or sold, Wall Street says.
Sponsored content. More from Business Insider. TikTok CEO Shou Zi Chew testified in front of U.S. Congress, amid calls for a forced sale or ban. Lawmakers grilled the CEO about TikTok's ties to China and its content moderation policies. The hearing did little to change the limbo in which TikTok currently exists in America, analysts said. TikTok CEO Shou Zi Chew testified in front of Congress Thursday, as calls for a forced sale of its U.S. business or a ban are on the rise. The hearing was meant to give TikTok the chance to assuage lawmakers' concerns about the social media app's data privacy policies and its ties to China via its parent company ByteDance. But after hours of grilling, the testimony likely had the opposite effect. We would characterize today's testimony by TikTok CEO Shou Zi Chew in the Beltway as a disaster moment that will likely catalyze more calls by lawmakers and the White House to look to ban TikTok within the U.S. if the company does not look to spin off and force a sale from Chinese parent ByteDance, said Dan Ives.
Okay, you can read the rest of this in my description box if you like. There's more to read. And let me know what you think. And that's the last I got for you. And I hope you enjoyed the news. And don't forget to like, subscribe, at least come back once in a while. And I thank you for watching. Until next time, see you later.